Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we're going to do August 2018, the chemistry region. And the first part we're going to do today is part A. Question number one. According to the wave mechanical model, an orbital is defined as the most probable location of. So, what's in the orbital? We know it's the electrons. So the proton we know exists in the nucleus. Neutron exists in the nucleus. Positron, that's the anti-electron, doesn't come in a regular situation. It should come in the nuclear reaction. And electron exists by orbiting the nucleus. That's why it's number 4. Question number 2. The part of an atom has an overall positive charge is called. You can find that easily in your reference sheet, but we can answer the question from here. We know that the positive particles are the protons, the protons. Electrons are negative. Positron are the anti-electron, same mass, different charge. It's positive. Neutrons are neutral, doesn't have any charge. So since he's talking about the nucleus, or which part is going to be positive, the part that has a proton, and which part has a proton is the nucleus. So it's going to be 2 due to existence of protons. Okay, and even if you don't know the answer, we know electrons is or electrons exist in the shells. That's why the first shell, the valence shell, is the location for the electron. And the electron is negative. Okay, question number 3. Which subatomic particles has a mass of approximately 1 U? So in that case, we have to think a little bit about which part in the atom has a mass. We know that the mass for the electron is negligible. That's why we doesn't take care of the mass of the electron in our calculation. So the electron doesn't have, for us, like we consider like they don't have a mass. The same, it's anti electron, which is positron, doesn't have a mass but opposite charge. So when we're doing our calculation is always for protons and neutrons, always for protons and neutrons. That's the nucleus. So number one, proton and electron. So anything has protons, has electrons, I cross it out, and positron the same because it's the anti-electron. So the answer is two, proton and neutron. Question number 4. The discovery of electron as a subatomic particle was a result for, if you remember, that's the cathode ray experiment. The cathode ray experiment. Collision theory, that's talking about the reaction, if it's going to take place or no. Kinetic molecular energy theory, about jumping of the electrons from one orbit to another. The gold foil, that's telling you that the nucleus or the atom is almost like a space. It's not like a condensed matter, it's a hollow material. And in that part, like when the beta particles go through the atoms or go to fall to the other side with minor reflection and reflection, the only one that telling you that you have a charged part was the cathode ray experiment. And if you look a little bit using some logic theory, isn't an experiment. So you can't use a zero for prove that discover something exists. So it's only an experiment. Question number 5. The element on periodic table of the elements are arranged in order to increasing. Again, if you forget, you can look for your periodic table. So if you look here, 2, 6, 4, 9, 5, 10, 6, 12, 7, 4, 8, 15, 9, 18, 10, 20. So obviously, like the atomic mass and the atomic number increase. So I can cross the formula mass and the oxidation number. It's atomic mass or atomic number. But if you're looking, you can find that some elements, the existence come because of the the chemical properties which are related to the electron number and proton number. So the proton for us is like the ID. And if you still remember about the isotopes, so we have some atoms or some elements has different number of neutrons. But how do I know they are the same? The number of protons. So I'm bounding to the number of protons which is shown by the atomic number. So the answer is 1. Sorry, the atomic number is 3, not the atomic mass. Atomic number is 3. Now, which element is classified as metalloid? If you're looking for your reference sheet, this is a chair. This is the staircase. So in the stair, the elements around the stairs are metalloid except the aluminium. So if I'm looking here, Te doesn't exist, or Te is here, so it's metalloid. If you're looking for Hg there, transition metal. If you're looking for sulfur, sulfur is here, is non-metal. If you're looking for iodine, iodine is halogen, so the only one is metalloid is Te. So it's number 1. Question number 7. At STP, standard temperature and pressure, oxygen gas and ozone gas are two forms of the same elements that have. So, if you're looking, what they have the same element. They have the same element. So, although you have the same element, but this element now in a new form. What's this new form? I have compound. So the oxygen O2 is considered like two atoms of oxygen. If you're looking for ozone, that's three atoms of oxygen. So these are two different material. And two different material means I am going to have different molecular structure and different molecular properties. Different properties. So the answer is going to be 4. Because the reactivity of ozone is different than the reactivity for oxygen. So they don't have the same boundary. Question number 8. Which substance can be broken down? So when I ask about something is broken down, it's going to be a compound, not element. I cannot break elements, but I can break down the compound. So if you're looking for the aluminum, Al is an element. If you're looking for antimony is an element, argon is an element, ammonia is the only one is a compound in H3. So that's why ammonium is going to be the element or the material that's going to be broken down because it has two different elements. Question number 9. Which statement describe water, liquid, and hydrogen peroxide? Hydrogen peroxide. As we said, these are two different compounds, so they are going to have different properties and different properties, and they are compounds. So they aren't mixture because I cannot separate them according to a physical property. I have to separate them using a chemical properties. So that's why both of them are compounds. But they don't have the same characters because they don't have the same ratio. Okay. Question number 10. Which represent which terms represent major categories of compounds. So compounds either going to be compounds are, as I know, like two elements connected together. These two elements either going to be connected by ionic bond or covalent bond. If it's by ionic bond, it's going to be ionic compound. If it's covalent bond, it's going to be molecular compound. So in that case, the major categories of compounds are going to be ionic and molecular. Nuclear is when you're talking about uh, an an element or atom. Empirical, that's empirical formula, just only to write the ratio between the elements in the simplest form. Okay, so the only stuff like dealing with the bonds are ionic and molecular. Okay, which represent an asymmetrical compound. Which represent an asymmetrical compound. So asymmetrical compound means I don't have the same distribution of charge. So if you're looking for CH4, so the four direction are going to I have a balance between the four direction. I have a balance between for the four direction. C double bond O, that's carbon dioxide. I have a balance. What does it mean a balance? I have the forces working in opposite directions. So if you're looking here, it's moving right and left. Here, right and left, up and down. So I have symmetry. Here is the same, right and left. And if you're looking for NH3, it's like that. So I'm not going to have a balanced opposite uh, attraction force or electronegativity. So I don't have right and left and up and down. So it's asymmetric. So for 11, the answer is 4. Question number 12. Which state describes the energy change that occurs as bonds are broken and formed during the chemical reaction? So breaking down breaking down the bond is absorbing energy. Forming new bond releasing energy. That's the rule always. So breaking down the bond require energy, so absorb energy. Forming a bond is going to release energy. So now energy absorbed when bonds are both broken or formed? No. Energy is released when bonds are both broken or formed? No. I have an position. So to break down the bond, I need energy, and to form the bond, it releases energy. So energy is absorbed when the bonds are broken, and energy released when the bonds are formed. So that's correct answer. Number 3. Now, question number 13. A solid sample of a copper is an excellent conductor of electric current. Which type of chemicals are bond are in the sample? So if you look, the copper is a transition metal. The transition metal doing, since it's all metals are doing somewhat some of bonds, some type of bonds, we call it metallic bond. Metallic bond. Um First, it's an element as you look, so I don't have any other element with it, so I cannot have either ionic, either covalent bonds. Okay, I have only one type since it's metal, it's metallic bond. Metallic bond. That's question number 13. So the answer is 2. Which of the three? Which list includes 3 forms of energy? So I have to look carefully. So for thermal, that's energy. Nuclear, that's energy. Electronegativity, that's force, not energy. So 1 is incorrect. 2, thermal is energy. Chemical is energy. Electromagnetic is energy. So the answer is 2. Temperature, nuclear, electromagnetic. Temperature isn't and energy, it's indication about the energy. It's parameter for the energy. Okay, so the answer is 2 for question number 14. Question number 15, based on the table S, here's table S, okay, which element has the strongest attraction force on electrochemical bond? So that question is asking you about the electronegativity. So we have here chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen, selenium. Okay, so for oxygen, the electronegativity is 3.4. For chlorine, it's 3.2. For nitrogen, it's 3. For selenium, selenium here, it's 2.6. Okay, so I get the values now. Now, which one has the most attraction force? It's oxygen, so the answer is 3. Question number 16. At which temperature and pressure would a sample of helium behave most like ideal? So again, it should be high temperature, low pressure. So the highest temperature here is 600, and it's the same time the lowest pressure. So I'm looking for high temperature, low pressure. So the answer is 4. Question number 17. A cube of iron at 20 Celsius degree placed in contact with a cube of copper at 60 Celsius degree. Which statement describes the initial flow of heat between the cubes? So what's going to happen? As we know, the energy is going to transfer from one element to another element. So the copper is going to lose the heat and the iron is going to gain it. So the heat flows from the copper cube to the iron. That's the correct one because it comes from, so the flow, so the high temperature flow to the low temperature. And if you forget that, when you feel cold, you if you touch something warm, you feel warm. That's the same idea. It doesn't mean like material, but it's the idea of transferring the energy. Okay. Question number 18. Which sample at standard temperature and pressure has the same number of atoms as 18 liters of neon? So again, the number of moles the same in same volume. So I'm looking for the same volume. Since he said 18 liters, so I'm looking for 18 liters. So it's going to be 18 liters of argon. And the answer is 2. Question number 19. Compared to dihydrogen sulfide, the higher boiling point of H2O is due to. When I see the question about higher boiling point, he's in another way, the hidden question asking you about intermolecular force. So here, water is doing stronger intermolecular force than dihydrogen sulfate. So greater size, no. Stronger hydrogen bond, that's yes. In the term of entropy and energy, system in nature trend to, again, this is like a repetitive question. So I see increase entropy, less energy. So increase randomness, decrease heat. So higher entropy, lower energy. The answer is 3. Amines, amides, and amino acids are category of. So if you forget, you go for your reference sheet, the table for the organic material. So I have amine, amide, and the amino acid is an organic compound. So all of them are organic compounds, and in that case, it's going to be number 3. Why? Because amino acids has carbon, amide has carbon, amine has carbon. Okay. Question number 22. Which a molecule of which compound has a higher multiple covalent bond? So for here, I have carbon attached to 4 hydrogen. Now, for this one, I have 2 carbon attached and I have 3 hydrogen. For this one, I have carbon attached to 8 hydrogen. For sorry, I missed up one. This compound. This compound has only 2 hydrogen, so it has double bond here. So if you're looking, and the last one I have singles and singles bond and hydrogen. So that's the only one has double bond that has multiple. Can I check in another way? Yes, I can categorize them. This is follow CN H2N plus 2, so it's alkane. The same for number 3, the same for number 4. But for number 2, it's follow CnH2n, means it's alkene, and in that case, it's going to have multiple covalent bond. Question number 23. Which type of reaction reduce soup? How can I get soup? Soup is fatty acids plus sodium or potassium hydroxide, giving me soup. So that's according to soup, I'm going to see saponification, and that's the reaction. Saponification comes from soup. Polymerization means elongation. Combustion means burning in oxygen. Fermentation means sugar should be with water and some bacteria to yield carbon dioxide and alcohol. So the only one is saponification. So the answer is 4. Question number 4. For a reaction system at equilibrium, Le principle can be used to predict. Okay, Le discuss the equilibrium. What's going to affect the equilibrium? What's going to affect the equilibrium? So he didn't discuss the activation energy, type of bond. He didn't discuss the type of bond. He he didn't discuss polarity. He discussed how is going to be the effect on the system. Like for example, adding pressure, adding temperature, removing temperature, like that case. So it's effect of stress on the system, and in that stress means anything is going to affect the equilibrium rate. Question number 25. Which value changes when a copper become an ion? So a copper to become copper ion, it should lose 2 electrons. What does it mean? Here, the electron is the one that's affecting, but still the same element, so it still has the same atomic number and still has the same atomic mass. Why? Atomic number because the atomic number related to the protons. Atomic mass because I still have the protons and the neutrons, and effect on I don't have any effect on the nucleus. So what happened? That the copper loses two electrons. So the number of protons doesn't affect it, the number of neutrons doesn't affect it, the mass doesn't affect only the oxidation number because here it was zero and becomes positive 2. Question number 26. Which reaction occurs at anode and electrochemical cell? Always at anode we said I have oxidation. Always at anode I have always oxidation. And oxidation means lose electrons. Always lose electrons. Okay. So the reduction at cathode, combustion, that's burning in oxygen, substitution, something changing or replacing something. Okay. Question number 27. What is evidence indicate that the nuclear strontium 90 atoms are unstable? So here, when I'm talking about that the nuclei is unstable, I'm talking about I'm not talking about electrons at all. I'm not talking about electrons at all. So I don't have any issue with the electrons. My issue is with the nucleus. Okay. And to understand that part, I have to go for the reference sheet to see strontium 90. And here is the strontium 90 and it's full of beta decay. Beta decay beta decay means it giving me beta particle, give beta particle. So here is stratum uh, here's stratum 90, and when I said beta decay means it's give beta particle, so it's going to emit the beta particle. It doesn't when it's going to absorb if it's capture. Okay. Now, question number 28. Which nuclear emission is listed with its notation? So gamma radiation, gamma 00, proton, 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 this isn't correct. Neutron, no, because neutron has a mass. Alpha particle is a helium, so it's one. Gamma radiation is the only one. And if you forget about them, you can go for your reference sheet. And here is the symbol with the notation. The symbol with the notation. Okay. Question number 29. The energy released by nuclear fusion reaction is reproduced when? Okay. Uh, in nuclear fusion, we have uranium and you pump it with nitrogen and it give you krypton and some stuff. And when we adding the masses decrease. I have less or decrease in the mass. Why? This mass converted to energy. So the answer is 2. And it's logic when he said energy release, so I need something to convert to energy. Question number 30. Dating one's living organism is an example of a beneficial uses of. Okay, so when I make dating means I know the age. Knowing the age is something we use for the T with the T have. T have means I use the radioactive isotope. So the answer is 3. The answer is 3. So that's the end for part A. I wish you understood. Have a good day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.